High vibes, high vibes, high vibes. Just want to get on here today to make a quick video about being aware of the energy behind your words and how that affects those around you with what you're actually saying and what you're actually putting out there and the intentions that you are putting out there in this matrix. So I guess I'll just go ahead and get into it. You know, a lot of people, like, when they're talking, they just talk to talk, like, and they're not really putting that proper energy and intentions behind it, or if they are, they're not actually aware of the energy that they're putting behind the words that they're saying. And this can have all kinds of different effects on people as you are interacting with them and actually trying to go about your life and do different things. So actually being aware not only of what you're saying and the thoughts of how you're saying it, but also being aware of the energy behind it. Because a lot of people, I was actually talking with brother Max about this a little while ago. It was like, it's not always like what somebody says. It's the how they say it, that actually get them triggered and get them upset, or happy or sad, or whatever reaction is going to come from it, because you're going to get the different reactions depending on the energy behind it. But actually, being aware of the energy that you're actually putting behind what you're saying. Like, you can say I love you in a way to where it's so loving, and they feel the intent behind it. But then you could say it in a way to where people are like, I don't believe you actually meant that, and then it starts to skew how they actually feel about when you're saying that. So it's not just what you're saying, because you could be saying something very high in vibes, something very loving, but you could be saying it with those different intentions, that are actually going to end up skewing the perspective on what you're saying. So just actually being aware of what you're actually intending to say, and then not only that, then looking to see, okay, when I intend to say certain things, how I should put that out there, and having that, basically, like a program constantly running, because there's good programs and bad programs. But getting on the program to where it's like, okay, I'm aware of what I'm saying, and not only am I aware of it, I'm aware of how I'm saying it and how it's actually going to affect those around me. Because especially like when you're getting into, just for example, like at your job, and you want to portray, okay, you want somebody to get something done, but you might say it in a way that they're like, okay, I can't even really take you seriously, because you're it's a little too, I wouldn't say like kind, but it's like just a little too soft. So then, actually putting that energy behind it and getting a little more stern when you're saying it, like, hey, you need to make sure that you're getting this done. And you're not saying it in a way that's actually like harmful or hurtful, but you're saying it in a way that where the energy is very direct when you're saying it, and it's not going to be very indirect, because being direct and indirect, will have an effect on how you say things and how people perceive it, and everybody has their own perception on the energy behind the words. When you're saying it, they may take something differently based off of their past experiences or whatever. But as long as you have the proper intent behind what you're saying, people are going to feel that. It doesn't matter if you like, oh man, my voice is too soft, or my voice is too high pitched. Like, none of that stuff matters as long as you got the proper intent behind your words. So make sure you're looking at the intent behind your words when you're saying stuff, and don't just kind of not be mindful of it. You want to be aware of it, because a lot of people, when they're talking, they just kind of just talk, and they're not really aware of even what they're saying. And and that's even another aspect of it, because when you talk about, like, the energy behind the words, it's also the energy behind the base definition of those words. Even though words and all that is just symbology and a way for us to communicate with each other while we're here, but all these words do have a certain energy signature behind them already. But it's also, how can you change that energy signature, and not really change it, but like, kind of like tweak the frequency of that energy signature, to be more along the lines of what you're actually trying to put out there. And actually knowing that you have those pure intentions behind your words. You should always have those loving intentions behind what you say, because when you say something from the heart, when you're saying something from that love, then the message is going to get out there properly. It's not going to be skewed, because you are coming from a loving place. Whether somebody's going to take it wrong, or take it this way or that way, it doesn't matter, as long as you're actually putting that loving intention behind it. But that's pretty much all I wanted to get on here and talk about today, is really looking at how you're saying things and what you're saying, and being mindful, and not just mindful, being aware of it, spiritually, mentally, and physically, of what you're saying, and being aware of all aspects of what you're saying, because you don't want to, like, start saying something and then forget the energy and intention behind it, and then you end up actually, harming somebody. Because that happens all the times, especially in relationships. Like when people are talking, like they end up saying something, and then the other person, it starts getting hurt from it, or and they're like, oh, and then you be like, oh man, what you mean? Like I didn't even mean it that way, but like did you actually, were you actually aware of the energy that you put behind those words? You might have said something that you didn't think was, that harmful, but then the energy behind it, actually did have those different intentions. And this all comes down to your awareness and working on being more aware of the energy behind what you're saying. But now that is all I wanted to say. But peacing it out. My full love, my highest vibrations, and my gratitude.